Hello and welcome back. This is Metal Rocker 86, here again reviewing another album. You know, now it's time to look at Poison, so I will review their album Flesh and Blood. Poison is an American glam metal and hard rock band that started out in 1983 in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. They have released 7 studio albums to date, and Flesh and Blood is one of them. On to the album. Flesh and Blood is Poison's 3rd studio album, and it was released on July 3rd of 1990. It ranked as high as 2nd in the US and Australia, 3rd in the UK, and 4th in Canada and New Zealand. It is a 4-time platinum in Canada, a 3-time platinum in the US, a platinum in Australia, and a gold in the UK and New Zealand. It consists of 14 songs, and altogether is about 57.5 minutes long. On lead vocals and rhythm guitar is Bret Michaels. On lead guitar and backing vocals is CC DeVille. On bass, piano, and backing vocals is Bobby Dahl. On drums and backing vocals is Ricky Rocket. And finally, on keyboards and piano is John Webster. Now on to the songs, all of which were written by Bret Michaels, CC DeVille, Bobby Dahl, and Ricky Rocket. The first song on this album is an instrumental called The Strange Days of Uncle Jack, and it consists of a keyboard and some background sound effects to set the mood. This was an okay track on the album. This next one is quite up-tempo and hard. It's called Valley of Lost Souls. Instrumentation. The keyboards and sound effects from the last song continue for the first few seconds of this song, then the guitars and background drums will get you rockin'. I am also really feeling the energy in the solo. I feel like the lyrics describe a guy who's going down the wrong path in life, but he doesn't care. This was a great song on the album. Now this next one is somewhat up-tempo, and it was also released as a single. It's called Flesh and Blood, Sacrifice. Instrumentation. The main focus is on the catchy guitar in this one with some background drums. I really like the solo in this one too. I should probably refrain from describing the lyrics in this day and age, but this was a great song on the album. Now we get to another instrumental called Swamp Juice, Soul O. This one has a medium pace, and it consists of an acoustic guitar that gives off a little country feel. This was a good track on the album. Now this next one is quite up-tempo, and your head will be banging. It was also released as a single. It's called Unskinny Bop. Instrumentation. This one starts off with a drum intro for a few seconds, then the bass comes in, and soon after the guitars come in, and they're quite catchy. I really like the solo in this one too. According to CC DeVille, this song has no meaning. The title was used as a placeholder for Bret Michaels to write the lyrics. This was another great song on the album. Now this next one is also quite up-tempo. It's called Let It Play. Instrumentation. This one starts off with what sounds like a barbershop quartet. Then the guitars come in and get you quite energized with some background drums. There is also a part where the guitars go silent and all you can hear are the bass and drums. And as for the solo, it's awesome. I interpret the lyrics as being about someone who's having a bad day where everything goes wrong, but when the music comes on, everything is alright. This was another great song on the album. Now the tempo slows down in Life Goes On, which was also released as a single. Instrumentation. The intro focuses on the guitars and they give off a sad mood, but you can also hear the drums in the background. For the verse, the drums are the main focus with some guitar here and there, but the guitars return for the chorus. As for the solo, it's pretty good too. This song came to be when CC DeVille lost his girlfriend when she was fatally shot during a bar fight. He needed to find a way to live on without her and know that he would be okay. This was another good song on the album. Now the tempo really speeds up in Come Hell or High Water. Instrumentation. The main focus is on the guitars and they're quite catchy and hard, but you can also hear the drums in the background. There is also a part with no guitars and just bass and drums, but the guitars slowly come back and soon they're hard again. That is when the awesome solo starts. I feel like the lyrics describe a guy who's telling all his haters, no matter what you say, I'm gonna do what I love. This was another great song on the album. Now we get to my favorite song on the album. It's quite up-tempo, and it was also released as a single. It's called Ride the Wind. Instrumentation. The main focus is on the very catchy guitar in this one, and it really gets you energized, but you can also hear the drums in the background. The solo in this one is just plain awesome. I interpret the lyrics as being about riding a motorcycle, which is something Bret Michaels liked to do, and when you ride a motorcycle you can really feel the wind. This was an awesome song on the album. The fast tempo continues into Don't Give Up an Inch. Instrumentation. Again, the main focus is on the guitars with some background drums. The solo in this one is also pretty good, and it's another song I should probably not describe the lyrics for in this day and age. This was another great song on the album. Now the tempo really slows down as we get to Something to Believe In, and it was also released as a single. Instrumentation. This one starts off with a piano intro that sounds very soothing. At around the 50-second mark, the guitars and drums come in and things get a bit harder. I really like the solo in this song too. This song is actually a tribute to their security guard, James Chemo Mano, who was also the best friend of Bret Michaels. Very sadly, on Christmas Eve in 1989, he passed away, and Bret Michaels locked himself in a room and wouldn't come out until the song was finished. This was a very powerful song on the album. Now we get to Ball and Chain. The tempo starts off slow but speeds up after a bit. Instrumentation. This one starts off with an acoustic guitar intro, and then the electric guitars steal the show at the 20-second mark. I also really like the solo in this song. In this day and age, I should probably not describe the lyrics, but it was another good song on the album. Now, we get to Life Loves a Tragedy. The tempo starts off slow for the first minute, but things get harder after that. Instrumentation. The main focus is on the guitars, and to start, they give off a sad mood, but after a while, things get much harder. You can also hear the drums in the background. The solo is also really good. I interpret the lyrics as being about a guy who's gone through a bunch of breakups, and it's really got to him, but he has to find a way to cope and move on. This was another great song on the album. Now we get to the final song on the album, Poor Boy Blues. Again, the tempo starts off slow but speeds up after a while. Instrumentation. For the first minute, the guitars and drums give off a blues feel. When the tempo speeds up, you can hear a harmonica for a bit, but the guitars are still the main focus. I like the solo in this song too. I feel like the lyrics describe a guy who doesn't have a lot of money, and this was a good song to end the album with. So what did I like about this album? I really enjoyed listening to this one. The songs were all very well written, they were in the right order, the instrumentation sounded really good for the most part, and Bret Michaels nailed the vocals. The only minor change I would have made is I would have gotten rid of that first song with all the weird sound effects, The Strange Days of Uncle Jack. Instead, I would have started with Valley of Lost Souls because it gives off great energy. To conclude this, I will definitely recommend Flesh and Blood, and I'm sure you will enjoy it. Well, that's the end of this review. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up down below, and don't forget to subscribe and share. Until next time, rock on!